right. So in 2015, you and your dad, you had a dinner conversation here in St. Louis with us. And then, too, you guys were both wearing sneakers. I wish I could get away with that. But, because it's hot in here. Is anybody else? I wish I didn't have this jacket and this suit on.
You're working hard, man.
Yeah, it seems like it. Anyway, you said at that event, so I'm going to have you interact with your own quote, right?
Okay.
How meta.
All right.
A recent study showed, this is what you said, that creating space for students to doubt and ask questions is critical.
That's right.
You said ministries like Faith Ascent take students seriously and help them to think through the answers to the big questions. So Sean, just how important is it to create safe spaces for Christians to wrestle with doubts and questions?
You know, what's ironic is sometimes in the church, we're afraid of doubt. We're afraid of asking questions. I've heard Gary Habermas has done a lot of work on this. He says people can confess almost any sin, but if you say that I'm doubting and I'm not sure, it's like people freak out. The irony is that Christianity is actually true. And if there's any place that it should be okay to wrestle with tough ideas, it should be the church. Because Jesus claimed to be the truth. We shouldn't be afraid of ideas that challenge our beliefs. So studies consistently show that it's not doubt that shipwrecks a kid's faith. It's unexpressed doubt that shipwrecks a kid's faith. What that means that should be liberating to you and me is that we don't always have to have all the answers. Look, I'm an apologist. I have a PhD in this. Sometimes I get asked questions, I'm like, man, that's a good question. I got to think about that. I don't know, and that's okay. So what it means is in our families, in our churches, and our ministries like Faith Ascent, are we going out of the way to help kids wrestle with the big questions, give them space, but also direction how to find answers. That can be life-saving for a kid's faith. It can be life-saving.
Amen. We've had more than a few students tell us that their experience at Base Camp was one of the first times that they just felt free to unpack some of the stuff that they had been burdened with. And we're happy to actually do that for students. And for some of them, would you agree that it's actually nice to maybe get out of mom and dad's dining room or youth pastor Bob's, a small group, because in a context where you're known by everybody, and there might be, ramifications or raised eyebrows, it's nice to get into a group where you're somewhat anonymous, where you can just say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, without fear of maybe consequence.
Look, I grew up with a father who was and still is an apologist, but when I went through doubts, I needed my dad there, but I needed other people to speak into my life, to say the same things that he had said. But sometimes hearing it from somebody else in a different setting, in a different way, makes it sink in. So that's why ministries like Faith Ascent are important. I mean, Jesus said, what do you say, a prophet is not welcome in his own country? Sometimes my kids look at me, they're like, oh, whatever. And then they'll say something in Bible class like, Dad, did you know this? I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure we've had this conversation a lot. But someone else speaking it into them is, for whatever reason, God uses that. So that's why it's so important.